Boy Scout. I want to say Scouting America, the new name of the Boy Scouts of America. Saul, you want to introduce yourself and say hello to everybody?
Hello, everyone. Sal Ciampo here. Happy to join you. I joined last call. Just like to listen in and see what I could hear. And I will tell you, I've attended a number of roundtables across the country for scouting, and so I do know I have to interface a little bit with somebody because there's a few people who need some help from the auxiliary starting new units. So somewhere along the line, I'll figure out how to make those connections. But at the moment, there's a real pent-up demand to have ships and ships associated with the Coast Guard Auxiliary. So we just have to make it happen. And I'm here to listen so I can see what we can do to create an environment of greater cooperation.
Okay, thank you very much and welcome. We're glad that you could join us and we look forward to working with you. Okay, so um, as rolling down the agenda, I would like to introduce Joe Ramlett. Is Joe with us this evening? Yes, he
Yes.
is. You want to, Joe, if you can turn on your camera so people can see your smiling face. Maybe he can't. There he is. Okay. Welcome, Joe. Joe is taking over the job of maintaining our media archive. And Joe, do you feel like you're in a position to briefly explain what that archive is?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, great to be here and meet everyone. We'll be getting to know each other more, I'm sure. Um, Really, it's a repository for any media that is received out in the field, as things are happening and photos are taken of scouts, um, or auxiliarists that can then be sent in with the appropriate media releases and then distributed through the media archive for use for any promotional materials, any print materials, web materials, things like that. So
And that media archive is available by link from AuxScout.com. And Saul, anything that's in that archive is also available for Sea Scout public affairs people to use. All of the images that are in that archive have media release forms that and the form that is being used was approved both by the Coast Guard Auxiliary and the Boy Scouts of America. So it meets both organizations' requirements for ensuring that we have permission to use the images. And we have quite a few. Last number I was aware of was something like 1,600 images. Some of them are very recent, some of them are a few years old, but a lot of good stuff there. Thank you very much, Joe, and I'm so pleased that you're able to join us. I got a text message actually relayed to me through Holly from PJ O'Neill. He has just gotten back from a week's school trip and he got back very ill. So he has paid a visit to the local emergency room and won't be able to make a report on the upcoming webinars. I see at least one person from his team. Hiram, did you want to talk about what our Coast Guard Tech Talk is for this month? Hiram wasn't expecting this.
Yeah, yep. Sorry. Let me just turn on the camera and everything.
There he
Yes.
is.
This month's is part 2 of paddlecraft. Discussion. And then next month is a chat from NOAA's NESDIS program about weather satellites. And then the following month, we have a guest speaker from Airbus helicopters. And those are the folks that manufactured the Coast Guard's MH-65 helicopters. So we have a gentleman from the company to talk about their helicopters, and I think that will be very interesting also. So those are the upcoming three tech talks this month, June and July.
Thank you very much, Hiram. And
Yeah.
this month's speaker is Robin Pope,
Yep.
who, as you know, is a very good presenter, and we'll look forward to hearing what he has to say. John Reese, you want to talk about the flyers and anything else you want to talk about?
Sure. Yeah, I can't take credit for this, but I want to thank Holly and Rick Corrales, Division Chief for Public Affairs in the A Directorate, for helping
And,
out,
and Monique.
and Monique Wong from was it 7th South or District 7. I'm in District 14. I don't know what all the numbers, east, south, west, whatever mean here. But anyway, I want to thank the three of you for working together on the series of flyers that address one of the biggest issues that I've been working on in my role, which is promoting awareness of the AuxScout program within the auxiliary itself. It's a good little trifold brochure, has all the information that the DSOs will need to promote activities within their districts on it. And looks like it's been finalized and should be ready for publication before NACON this summer. So I'm very happy that they've worked together on getting this finished. One other note, I'd like to say I've requested to step down in my position at the end of the term. If any of you think you've got the skills for social media marketing, please let me know and let Bruce and Ron know if you'd like to fill this position during the next Commodore's term. That's about it, Bruce. Back to you, and thanks.
Okay, and thank you, John. The brochures are now available in the AuxScout Dropbox in Media, Flyers, Trifold Flyers folder, I believe is what it is. Yeah, so sorry that it's buried there, but that's where it is. I'm sure that at some point Ron will link to that from auxscout.com, but it's available there. And no, we don't have paper copies available, but you can download the PDFs and print them yourself locally. So that's about as good as we're going to be able to do on that. And with that, I will turn it over to Ron to talk about his stuff.
Which really includes both the new ship organization as well as what we've been doing with AuxScout staff and AuxV Wiki transition. Just so you know, Mac couldn't make it because Mac is working crazy hours right now. He's got a power plant that they're completely refitting, so he's having a little extra fun with that. But Mac McBride is our contact who handles working with new Sea Scout ship, and so if, hey Sal, you need somebody to help, there's your guy, okay? And he does work hand in hand with Tom Trepting's guys as well, so you know he's plugged in with them quite well. We also have, I think everybody here knows, we've got a nice little step-by-step brochure that we put together that really simplifies BSA side and the auxiliary side so that it's real simple to follow, to be able to get both your BSA charter and then your charter from the auxiliary. And it's a very simple process. And we, as a matter of fact, I was just working with 2602 here in Michigan, who never had an auxiliary charter, but that's because their request getting waylaid. But now we finally got it through. The DCO actually told me today that she had received it. So I was glad to hear that. Now it can go to Duroc and we'll be done with it. We have a new Duroc, so we're working hard with him. But we've got the resources. Mac is our primary contact for all that. Of course, just about any of us can assist when it comes to a lot of those things. Hopefully everybody on the DSO side and all the branch chiefs received this week's AuxScout statistics. This week was a simple week. It was just really the stats from our hours in the last week. I did want to bring up that one of the things that I've been looking at, I have been auditing, probably the best way of putting it. And the things I'm auditing right now happen to be the, I'm looking, and I'm doing this partly because of the fact that having been trained as an IS officer, I understand what they're doing, and I want to make sure our data is good when we look at it nationally. So one of the things I've been picking on lately a little bit is when I see people who have reported time under AUX SCO2, but they do not have a Sea Scout flag on their record, which means they're not a registered Sea Scout leader, or they're not a registered Sea, depending on their age, of course. And a Sea Scout leader is a person who is registered with the Boy Scouts of America and who is specifically working with the Sea Scout program. So consequently, I've been doing a little touch with some of the DSOs that have heard from me already. Others will hear from me in the next month because I kind of took the big chunk first and now start picking on the little chunk. But we're trying to make sure that we don't have people who are recording their time improperly, because I don't want any of that coming back on us as to not providing the right report. The Auxby Wiki transition is rolling right along. Actually, all the content is local here on my computer. And although Auxby Wiki itself is still running, and what I'm doing right now is finishing up the edit, because some of that content's been out there for a few years and things have changed a little bit. So there's a little bit of editing that has to go on, and then relinking, because there's a difference in structure between a wiki and WordPress, which is what our website is based on. So doing all of that work, plan on getting that done here by the end of the month, which will be a wonderful thing, hopefully sooner. But you know, that was my goal, was actually try to get it done by the 15th, and I had to go to Florida for a week, unfortunately. So that kind of threw all that off. Had a family matter to deal with, and so it, you know, I didn't get to work that week on it. But otherwise, we're coming along quite well. We should have all that stuff in place here very shortly. And once we have it in place, we're going to reach back out to the B directorate, who owns AuxB Wiki. Hard to believe that, isn't it? And let them know that they can shut that down. However, we're going to ask them to put some code over there to redirect people over to AuxScout.com. So in case anybody goes to AuxB Wiki, because that's linked in all sorts of places, then they should automatically kick over to AuxScout.com. And that's where we are.
Okay, thank you very much, Ron. And I want to just touch on a couple of things. First of all, I want to remind the DSOs that if you have prospects in your district for new ships, please make sure that you reach out to those prospects at least once a month. And that doesn't mean just sending an email. That means picking up the phone and getting on the phone with them and talking with them and finding out how things are going. And if they need help, we'll see what we can do to get that help. But they need to know that you're paying attention to what they're doing. I will send out after this meeting an updated ship listing and the prospect list listing, as well as the current contact list that's both for the AuxScout program as well as the Sea Scout Growth and Retention Committee, so that you have the current contact information. And Saul, I'll send you copies of that as well, so that you have the current list. Okay, yes, sir. Okay.
Just thank you for sending it to me.
Okay, no problem. We have no secrets here. Let's see. I can't remember whether I reported on this the last time we got together, but the Sea Scouts who applied for the Eagle Summer Cruise and AIM Week have been notified of their selection. We had the best crop of applicants for both of those programs this year in several years. For the Eagle Cruise, we have 4 confirmed spaces on the cruise, as well as 2 standby people. They may get to go depending on how many first year Coast Guard Academy cadets wash out. It's all dependent on that. Last year, both the 4 and the 2 got to go. And so hopefully we'll have 6 Sea Scouts on the Eagle this summer, but at least 4. And then all of the AIM Week, that's the Academy Introduction Mission, slots were also filled. So thank you very much for helping to get the word out on that. I really appreciate your efforts, as well as the efforts of the selection work groups to go through the many applications that we got, so that we could refer on the best candidates to the Coast Guard. So, all right, let's move on to staff reports. And again, a reminder that I don't want to, we don't have the time to hear everything that you've been working on over the last 3 months, because there are potential, 28 reports. If everybody takes 5 minutes, we'll be here until midnight. Just one accomplishment and one upcoming plan. And with that, we'll start with Atlantic East. And Arnie, you want to introduce your team?
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. Let's start with District 1 North, April Oliveira.
Good evening. All right, so for an accomplishment yesterday, there was a scout event at Battleship Cove that we went to. It was successful despite the horrible weather that wasn't predicted. There's about 400 scouts and their parents that came through. An upcoming plan is at our D train in June. Ship 1791, which is a flotilla sponsored ship, and ship 5 from Gloucester will be acting as the color guard and then work as volunteers at the event. And then they want to have like a job fair where all the DSOs kind of talk about what they do. And I'm hoping to get some of the Sea Scouts to kind of answer questions and everything as well. And that's it.
Very good. Thank you. D1 South, Alex.
Good evening. So for our accomplishment, we recently had a safety at sea program with Sea Scouts from basically Massachusetts through Maryland. We had over about 100 attendees. We had people there representing the Academy, the Misty program, and even had one of the local flotillas presenting, in addition to the new normal round of classes. So it went really well, got a lot of interest, and motivated the kids to have more of an interest in working with the auxiliarists. As far as an upcoming plan, I'm currently working with the district executive from Connecticut Yankee Council to try to create better relations there, because there's been a little bit of a lapse in communications between the auxiliarists and the Sea Scout ships. So I'm trying to make sure that we have matches between the two and get a better developmental plan going in that area, as well as doing the same with the ship in New York. Thank you.
Very good, Alex. Thank you. D5 North, Jim White.
Okay, as far as accomplishments, as I was calling on my SOs this weekend, 2 of them were actually out on public affairs recruiting events, public affairs for the auxiliary and Sea Scout recruiting tables right next to each other, and marinas and locations. As far as my upcoming plan, I had a Division 12, which is my state of Delaware. My SO had to give up the position for health reasons, and I have to find a new one. It's very important because we have 3 Sea Scout ships and a Coast Guard Junior ROTC program down there with 90 Junior ROTC people. So that's my big priority.
All right. Thank you, Jim. Down to 5 South, Holly.
All right, good evening. Well, the biggest event that I think I want to talk about is something that just happened in North Carolina, and it was their very first Safety at Sea. It took place at the Special Missions Training Center at Cab Lejeune. So this was coordinated by Pat Curley, who wears multiple hats with both the auxiliary and the Scouts. He's actually the East Carolina Council Commodore. The interesting thing apparently about this particular program is that it is training and stuff that happens with the Coast Guard that most people are not aware of. They train in port security and drug enforcement. So the scouts at this event really had a very special batch of things that they did that they were unable to do, obviously, in their regular Sea Scout ships. So anyway, they had something like 12 different councils that participated in that event. And so they're talking about making that an annual one. So then in terms of upcoming, I might as well mention, since we're on a big Safety at Sea topic, that we're actually working on our Safety at Sea at Curtis Bay. That will be September 14th this year. And we have our monthly planning meetings we're doing. And this year we're actually involving 4 of the scouts to sit in on those meetings so that we can actually find out from them what are the activities that they would most like to see happen. So thank you.
Thank you, Holly. And down to D7, Monique.
Thank you, Arnie. For D7 accomplishment, in this quarter we have 4 Sea Scout ship getting started, and we are expecting some to be charter, in the next semester, next school year, beginning of next school year. So that's going well. And I also want to take a moment just to recognize my 3 ADSO that are at the meeting, and thanks for their support and their leadership. Without them, we would not have as good a team. For upcoming plan, I will be going to the annual awards ceremony at the Mass Academy of the Coast Guard JROTC program, and that Division 6, in our district is chartering a ship there, and so that would be a great opportunity for me to see meet the cadets again, and also to meet the parents at this event. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Monique. That takes care of Atlantic East.
Thank you. And I just wanted to amplify on something that Monique is working on. Mast Academy in Florida used to be the home of a super strong ship in years gone by that was and they are no longer there. Mast Academy is a maritime high school, and they have a very large Coast Guard Junior ROTC unit. So this is a great opportunity for us to be getting back into that organization, organizing a ship and reinforcing the connection to the Coast Guard. So thank you very much, Monique, for your efforts there.
My pleasure.
Bart warned me that he was tied up with a family event, and I don't see him on the line yet. So Ron will fill in for him for Atlantic West.
Good thing. Anthony, do you want to take it away with 8 Eastern?
I do, and I will. So up here in ADR, we have at least 3 to 4 new ships in some segment of or some process of getting formed up. Got at least 1 new one, so that's always good. Upcoming events is to have more people send me their reports. That's always a challenge, right? And I did talk to Bruce about another initiative that we're looking to possibly convert a Sea Cadet unit into a Sea Scout ship. So that would be an interesting process. And that's my 2 minutes.
Hey, that's great. I'm glad to hear that, Anthony. Let's see here. Well, Bart isn't with us, so we can't ask Bart. So that brings us down to 8th Western Rivers and Zach Taylor.
Thank you. Good night, everyone. I guess one positive or good thing we had, the merger of Paw Council and West Ark is complete. They have formed the Natural State Council, and within the next 200 days, they will take in DeSoto Council, which is Southeast Arkansas. They're forming new council committees, and I've been named to the council membership committee for this year. And so hopefully we will be able to get the ball rolling on hopefully at least one ship within the new council. Arkansas has 75 counties, and this new council will be, I think, 67 of them. So hopefully with some of the big lakes and 2 major rivers going through the new council, we'll be able to build a ship. Future Division 5, which is Travis Cott is the SOAS for there. They're setting up meetings with current scout troops in Springfield, Missouri, Branson, Missouri, and Harrison, Arkansas areas to attend troop meetings to discuss opportunities for Sea Scouts. And that is all I have.
Thank you very much, Zach. Over in 9th Central, we have this is real fresh news. There is a auxiliary university program unit being formed at the University of Michigan that will serve the University of Michigan, which has a marine engineering program as well as a marine science program, as well as Eastern Michigan University and Concordia College, which is also in the immediate area. They are doing great, and they have asked if they can't work with our Sea Scout unit that we're forming. So that's always a positive thing to hear from the college students. So they are going to be joining in with us. And then one of the other projects we're working on is that next month I will be the guest speaker at Flotilla 2206, which is the Lansing Flotilla, which is our other flotilla that is working on forming a Sea Scout ship. And already mentioned 2602, so I don't have to do that. So, and that's everything from 9th Central. And right. Jeff, I don't see on, so I guess that takes care of the Atlantic West.
Yeah, I don't see Jeff.
Which is unusual. We usually see Jeff. So
yes. Okay, moving on to the Pacific region. I don't think John Michael is with us, so let's start with Andrew Manning and 11th North.
Hello, everyone. The Golden Gate Area Council is working on starting a Sea Scout ship. They're actually just looking into the matter, but that would be our first auxiliary chartered Sea Scout ship in the district there. So that's news. And also on our district website, we're in the process and the works of getting some more auxiliary information up and for people to be able to access it more. But we have a preliminary little thing on the website, and that's the latest.
Bruce, can I jump in a second?
Sure.
I don't know if I got all these. Your nomenclature is just as complicated as the Scouts. DSO AS for, I guess it's District 11 North is Andrew. The Scout Executive Golden Gate is Mike Hale. I serve with him at the Jamboree at 2026. I just met with him the other day, and he has all the leaders in place, enough youth to start the unit that they want to start. So Andrew, you might want to call them, we'll get together because they are ready to go. And the rate limiting issue at the moment is getting the charter.
What troop what area were you referring to?
Golden Gate Council.
Okay,
San Francisco.
The one that I have been working with. Do you know the gentleman?
I don't know what you've been doing because how could I know that, right? I'm just telling you what I know, which is San Francisco. I can talk to you about it offline, but they were talking to me about getting another sponsor, and I asked them, please don't do that. Let me first find out what I can do. And I got a call directly from the Scout executive. So I'm happy to see you on, and I'll give you my phone number in the chat, and maybe you can call me, or we can try and get whatever barrier there is out of the way.
Sure, I'll stick around for a little bit after the meeting if you want to talk together.
Happy to.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Paris, you're up.
I apologies for the sending my report in kind of late, but very late, but you should have it by now, Bruce. I would say one accomplishment that we've had is we have a ship in Lake Havasu that has made contact with a flotilla that's there. They do not have an FSOAS, but they are, the flotilla commander there has been in contact with me, and they are moving a lot of members through youth protection training. So they should be able to start working with them very soon, if they haven't already. And which is great because it's kind of an area that doesn't have a lot of representation at the moment. And then for an upcoming thing that we're trying to get going is I'm working with some of our more active staff officers on that are currently working with ships on trying to get some of the scouts and the leaders together from different ships in our district, because a lot of our officers, we got together and had a meeting this month with all the officers, and they were all kind of expressing interest in broadening their horizons. Like they feel like it's a little bit stale, the stuff that they're doing in their ships, just kind of doing the same thing over and over again. They're still active and the kids are still enjoying it, but they wanted to kind of see what other ships are doing. So I'm working to kind of connect them together, and then hopefully we'll have a little bit of a meetup and probably do some kind of activity depending where it lands, but some kind of boating activity, whether it's sailing or kayaking or something like that. And hopefully the adult leaders and the youth will all be able to kind of get together and exchange some information.
Okay, very good.
Bruce, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There's a national roundtable for Sea Scouts, so Paris, you may be interested in that to attend or have them attend and cross-pollinate ideas from as far away from you as possible in the United States, because people do different things in different places. That's an established group you can connect to.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Let's see. I don't see Klaus on the call this evening. He's usually able to make it, but I don't think he's with us this evening. I know he's been working on a prospective new ship in Boise, Idaho, but I haven't gotten an update on that in the last few weeks. And Saul, that part of the challenge there is that there's very little auxiliary presence in that part of the world. And so the flotilla in Boise has members spread out over basically a 250-mile area. So anyway, they're working on it, but I'm not exactly sure how quickly that's going to come in. D14, Alima's not with us, I don't believe. John, have you heard, John Reese, have you heard anything new on what we had been talking about?
I don't know much about what's going on here. We had our D train a couple of weeks ago, and I met some new auxiliarists from the Big Island who are involved in scouting there, and they are looking to have the flotilla and Hilo charter a ship. I was excited to see that, and they seem pretty excited to have just joined the auxiliary too. But that's about all I know from here in the islands.
Can you please send that contact information to Ron, Alima, and me so that we can follow up on it?
Sure, yeah, I gave my business card to them when I met them a couple of weeks ago, but I'll try to follow up with them too.
Okay, thank you very much. And I have not, I don't believe Stu Robards is with us, so he may still be frozen in Alaska. Okay, John, did you have anything more that you wanted to report on marketing or social media?
No, I think I pretty much covered everything when I spoke earlier tonight. Just excited about the brochure to get that out. That's something new for us. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Ron, anything else on program support?
Just to remind all the DSO to remind all of their Sea Scouts and Sea Scouters and their staff officers and everybody else to make sure they record their time, please. We're doing great. We're over 27% ahead of last year. But hey, we can always do more. So, it's good stuff. And I'm really glad to see the reports that are coming in, but just please make sure everybody submits their time hopefully in an orderly fashion.
And
Not at the end of the year.
And the related topic is to keep your eye out for Sea Scout youth and adults who are auxiliaries, who may not have the Sea Scout flag checked in Aux data, which would then close the loop for Ron, wondering why somebody is submitting AuxScout to ours. Okay. Let's see, moving on to the next steps, AuxScout, Sea Scout participation at NACON. And I see Ron Blaisdell's
Sorry,
name.
Bruce, could I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I missed it. Maybe whoever's from 8 Central, is that Texas? Do I have my memorization of the map right?
Yeah, good job.
It's actually 8th Coastal.
8th
Yeah, they
Coastal.
call it Coastal.
Okay. It says
Right.
8C. I don't know what it stands for, but if
Right,
it's 8
exactly,
Coastal, I'll
exactly.
go for it.
Exactly,
Well,
don't worry about it.
Yeah,
I don't know if, is that David who, it says David Friedman is, right? Is that you?
no,
No, who is it?
It's Bart Knapp, who I mentioned is tied up with a family commitment.
Let me
Bart,
just pass on to you, Bruce. Then Mike Fossum was the speaker at the National Annual Meeting of the Scouts. Mike Fossum is an astronaut people may have known about, 6 months on the space station, but he's also now the chief operating officer at Texas A&M Galveston campus, which has the A&M Maritime Academy. And I met with him. We had a little food together, and he's interested in starting a Sea Scout ship, and rather than it be sponsored by a state operation, which is seemingly against Texas law, which I didn't think anything was against Texas law, but okay, maybe this is. So whoever that is, if they want to contact me, I'll connect them with Mike, so that the Coast Guard Auxiliary could be the chartering organization in triumphant with the Maritime Academy and the Sea Scouts, and then everyone will win, and that may give entree to all groups. So all boats rise is the best way to do it. So whoever I need to talk to or get to or whatever it is, someone help me find that person, and I'll give them a hot lead that I've got created.
Ron, you want to follow up with Bart on that?
I will do that.
Okay. Bart has organized several ships over the last few years, so he's particularly knowledgeable in the process. He's also, I want to say, an active member of the Sam Houston Area Council Sea Scout Committee. So he's well familiar with the program. Okay. All right. So NACON, Ron.
NACON. I have made initial queries out to our wonderful friends in Florida, down in D7, to come in and do to run the Sea Scout booth for us down at NACON. I haven't heard back yet, but that's okay. We did this now a couple of times, so it's not a big deal. They're really good at it, and it looks like they had a wonderful booth also at NAM. So that was kind of nice to see. And I have also reached out to an auxiliary sponsored ship in Palm Bay, Florida, which is part of Central Florida Council. So they're part of the Orlando area, and hopefully we'll be able to have those guys come this year, since last year we canceled NACON while literally they were setting up the booth. So hopefully that won't happen this year. But we've already got things moving.
That was because of COVID, incidentally. For those of you who may not have heard, some people had already arrived at NACON, and a couple of the members of the National Executive Committee came down with COVID, and rather than spreading that to hundreds of people, they canceled the event. Ben Farrell was in the air on the way to NACON, and when he got to the Orlando airport, he got the message to not leave the airport and to go right back home. So, okay. Next point. I'm hoping that in each district the DSO, ADSOs, SOs, and FSOs are working together. And if you haven't already done so, please develop a plan with SMART goals for the year. I think of an instance that I'm aware of in another organization where the head of the organization made a pie in the sky goal for where he wanted the organization to be in 2 years, didn't consult anybody on that. And while the goal was a good and meaningful one, there was no plan for executing it. So goals without plans are wishful thinking. I wish I could take credit for that quote, but it was somebody much smarter who came up with that. So work together to figure out where you want to be going. If you don't know everybody who is in your district working on AuxScout, that would be a really good first step, is try to get to know who they are, develop relationships with them. Don't rely just on email, because email is easy to ignore. We would like to have a staff officer for AuxScout in every division. I haven't looked at it recently. The last time I looked, we have just over half of the divisions covered by SOASs. I feel pretty confident that some of those SOASs are in those jobs in name only and may have little or no understanding of Sea Scouts. So we need to do what we can to help them to understand what the program is and what their responsibility is for supporting AuxScout and promoting the Sea Scout program. Okay, and incidentally, if you need to send people for training on that, we have dozens of really good videos on the AuxScout YouTube channel. Just have them have a look at the relevant videos, or if they would prefer, they can download the slide decks and look at them that way. Okay, so this is our monthly reminder about auxiliary chartered Sea Scout ships that, as far as I know, have BSA charters, but they don't have Coast Guard charters. And we'll just run down the list, and if the DSO is aware of any of these having received their Coast Guard charter, I would be delighted to take them off this list. So D7, ship 339 in Lighthouse Point, Florida. Monique, have we seen any update on that?
It's in progress, Bruce.
Okay. Bart's not here to defend himself. We have 3 ships there. Let's see, 8th Western Rivers, we don't have the DSO there.
I'm here.
Oh,
We've
I'm
got him.
sorry.
Zach's here.
Okay, I'm
Yeah,
sorry, Zach.
It's their charter is sitting in my email inbox. I need to do up the email and send it to the DIROPS.
Okay, so the paperwork is complete, but it hasn't made it to DIROCS yet.
Correct.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Yep, I wanted to make sure all their YPT and all that stuff was all good to go before I did that.
Okay, very cool. Thank you very much. We've already talked about ship 2602 in Boyne City, Michigan. And unfortunately, we don't have a DSO in 9th Eastern. So we've had a ship in Falconer, New York for 2 or 3 years now. I think that's Allegheny Highlands Council. It's the one in Chautauqua. And then we also have ship 104 in Anchorage, Alaska in D17 that is lacking a Coast Guard charter. So we will keep after that. Nobody is asking about this, incidentally, from the Coast Guard standpoint, but we all know that if something goes wrong, if we haven't crossed the T's and dotted the I's, somebody will look for a reason to say, but you didn't do everything you were supposed to. And there is a reason why the Coast Guard is asking to do this. Okay.
And Sal, just to tell you, since you're from the commissioner side of the world, the Coast Guard charters are a one-time event. They don't have to do them every year. So
I'm aware.
it's not like rechartered. So
Yeah,
just so
that's
you know.
why they take so long, because they're forever.
Yes.
Well, I think one of the main reasons is to make sure that the Coast Guard district has visibility, that they're aware that there is a Sea Scout ship that is being chartered to a Coast Guard auxiliary flotilla. And I think that's one of the really important reasons why we don't just let this slide. We want to make sure that the Coast Guard and the auxiliary are doing what they're supposed to be doing to support that unit. Okay, and I think in the interest of ensuring that we have good continuity on our ships, please check in with, well, actually, I was going to say something else, but what this check mark is for is just to check on your prospective new ships. But I would also urge you to check in with the ships you already have and make sure they're doing okay. You don't want to be finding out that a ship is in trouble 5 months after it stopped functioning and it's due to recharter. I heard of one such ship this past year. Let's try to keep an eye on how we're doing with our ships, and if they're struggling, the local council should be able to support. There are other ships in the area that should be able to help. And as well, we have a responsibility to help them be successful. Similarly, if you have flotillas and ships that are near one another, try to pair them up and see what they can do to help existing ships be stronger and deliver better program. We've already talked about hours reporting. I know that this may seem like a trivial thing, but it's very important to the Coast Guard. And believe me when I say that when we're able to say that we have delivered X many tens of thousands of hours to the Coast Guard, that kind of information really gets the attention of senior management in both the Coast Guard Auxiliary and in the Coast Guard. It makes them say, oh, okay, here is one good reason why we should be supporting the Sea Scouts. You're doing the work anyway, so just report the time so that we all get credit for the good work that you're doing. Also on the front of keeping up with our training, remember that the required training, youth protection training, which must be done every 24 months. Sea Scout Adult Leader Basic Training is a one and done training. And then Safe Swim Defense and Safety Afloat for those who need it. For example, those who are involved in on the water or in the water activities, that training, which takes all of 30 minutes to complete, and that has to be done every 24 months. So I understand that the youth protection training is being updated now, and the BSA requirements on that may be changing. When that happens, we will take that up with the Coast Guard to see if we can't keep that requirement lined up with the BSA requirement. So is there any question about that? It's really not difficult, folks. You just have to decide you're going to do it. Let's see, we've already talked about the Sea Scout checkbox. All of your DSOs have the ability to fill in that data point. So can Ron and so can I. Now, the next point is one that has been coming. I have been warning you all to, or I should say, urging you all to think about who will come in after you. when you are finished with your time in your current position. It's very important that we not have a break in leadership. And to that end, the deputy director of the student programs directorate has had to step down. That's Jacob. And I've been asked to take over his job. And my time in that job began on Friday. So I have agreed to take that on, in part because I knew that I had my relief already recruited. Ron has been shadowing me for almost a year and knows just about everything that I know, plus an awful lot of things I don't know. And he will be stepping into the division chief role as of June 1st. He still is working on some carryover projects that he wants to complete before he steps into the division chief job. So with that in mind, Ron, is there anything that you'd like to say about your upcoming tenure as the head honcho of this motley crew? And there you go.
Yeah, I was. Actually, we've been shadowing longer than that, Bruce. It's been since we did the basically just after the DSO meeting. What was that, 2 years back when we did the last DSO class? So it's been even longer. But I look forward to this. I have been planning. I have been working on this. If there are individuals who have some desire to work on the youth program staff, I feel free to reach out to me. Y'all get email from me every week, so I know you got my email address. Feel free to reach out. We did a survey of all of our current staff officers. We reviewed what they sent us back. So we're going to have a couple of openings. And so I look forward to folks who want to work as part of the national staff. I will tell you that if you think working at the national staff is easier than being a DSO, you're sadly mistaken. So just so you know, this is not a sit back job. So it is important, and but if you're interested, we'd love to hear from you as we go forward. So please just drop me an email and we'll have a phone call and we'll talk. And that's pretty much all I have at the moment, sir.
Thank you, Ron. I just want to mention, for those of you who may be a little bit new to all of this, the project that we're all working on and supporting, the liaison relationship between the Coast Guard Auxiliary and the Sea Scout program of Scouting America. Scouting America. I'll get used to that very soon. I started working on that with the 1989 National Jamboree when we exhibited together for the first time. And we have had 3 MOAs between the Boy Scouts of America and the Coast Guard Auxiliary, with the first ones in 2009, and the one that we're currently operating under was signed in 2018. The number of Sea Scout ships that we had in 2020 was 0. The number of ships we have today is 33. We would have even more if we didn't have COVID, but nevertheless, think of all that went on in the world and all the good work that you did in that time. We have established 33 units. We have 550 people registered as either adults or youth in those Sea Scout ships. We're working with many more ships on a formal or informal basis. And I am really proud of all of you. You're doing a great job. We are delivering an opportunity to teenagers in our community. And they may get out of it a better understanding of safe boating. They may be introduced to Coast Guard or maritime careers. probably the most important thing that they'll get out of it is learning how to be better people, getting an understanding of what their role is in society, learning leadership, responsibility, and concern for others and willingness to serve others to make America a better place. And in part, that's because of the good stuff that you guys are doing. I'm very proud of what you bring to the table. You've accomplished a great deal, and it's been a wonderful honor working for you. I'm not going away as the Deputy Director of Student Programs. I'll continue to be working with youth programs, but Ron will be the guy in day-to-day responsibility for the program. So if you need to reach out to me, don't hesitate to do it. I'm still in the captain's seat for another few days, and keep up the good work. Are there any questions before we sign off?
Bruce, could I get a half a minute or a minute and a half?
Sure, absolutely.
So I just wanted to let people know that we had the National Annual Meeting of the Boy Scouts of America, now Scouting America, in Orlando a week ago. And, you know, Roger Stone and I have a relation, Roger Crone and I have a relationship because I'm the chairman of the National Properties Committee for the Scouts as well. And I asked him to come to the elective that the youth were putting on, the Sea Scout youth and venturing youth were putting on. And he said, gee, I'll try and make it, but we're so busy. I said, wait a minute. Are you going to listen to what the adults are telling you about scouting, and you want to hear what the product of the program has to say about scouting? And then he wound up coming for the entire time. We thought we'd keep him for 5 minutes. We kept him for an hour. And he was really impressed with some of the things he heard. It was a purely youth-led presentation jointly with the venturers, and it was a magnificent outcome. And one of the questions asked at that meeting was, how come some scout execs have forbidden venturing or sea scouting in their council? And Roger said, is that correct? And I said, well, I mean, I haven't heard it personally. I suspect it is. And I said to Roger, well, what would you do if you had McDonald's chains and some of the McDonald's wouldn't sell French fries, one of the products? He said, I would take away their charter. So apparently we now have a business person whose idea about selling French fries is consistent with ours, right? It's a product, and therefore you have to offer the full product menu. And so that was an outstanding outcome. To that end, we have appointed someone who's going to be chair of the territorial liaison. And what I've done is gotten a lot of emeritus folks who have great contacts across the Scouting America, the Boy Scouts, old name. And they can call Scout executives directly, call council presidents directly, call territory directors directly. You know, the Sea Scout Committee owns the recalcitrant councils that won't cooperate. And so you tell me about them, and then we'll go. We have now a plan to blow up the barrier by either going through Roger Crone as a last resort and through this new committee who has contacts to get Scout execs who know those Scout execs to soften them up. We have to stop forcing our membership people to try and call a Scout exec or someone who's in control and try and get an audience before they can even make a pitch. So you have my commitment to blow some of that up. And I really already have the Silver Buffalo, so I really don't care if they like me or not. You know what I mean? It's like that commander with like 5 months to go before he retires. He or she is really dangerous if you get them motivated. The last item or second last item I would say is I put my email in the chat. I know Paris had a question for me. If you email me that question, I'll pass it up the line because between listening and trying to write something down, it's hard to keep up. So if you don't mind emailing me, I'd really appreciate it. And I would congratulate Bruce on his great work for these many years in Sea Scouting. No one could have done it better. And Ron has big shoes to fill, but he has big feet, so it should probably be okay. I enjoyed reading his reports, and it's a great testament to the work you've done, and a little bit because the pandemic is over, to get those Sea Scout hours recorded at what was it, a 27% increase over last year. So maybe there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not a train coming in the other direction. So I thank all of you for what you do to further the Sea Scout movement.
Thanks very much, Sal. If there's nothing else, just a reminder that the steering team will be meeting on Sunday, June 16th. If you don't know what the steering team is, you're not on it. And then the quarterly all staff forum will be on Sunday, July 14th at 2100 Eastern Daylight Time. And I'm sure that Ron will be alerting everybody to both of those things. So thank you very much, everyone. And I guess if anybody has anything that they want to talk about after the meeting, we'll stay on for a few minutes, but this meeting is finished, and thanks so much for coming.